During her prime in the 60s and 70s, the stunning sex kitten Brigitte Bardot had over 100 lovers, both male and female. She set the silver screen on fire by breaking all sexual taboos of the time. In fact, she is so sex-crazed that she tried to take her own life 4 different times. Sounds horrendous, right? Well, that's nothing compared to what's to come in this video. Welcome to the crazy and downright shocking sex life of Brigitte Bardot. Born in 1934 in France, Brigitte was raised by wealthy parents just a stone's throw from the Eiffel Tower. Although her true dream was to become a ballerina, she had found success as a model at a very, very young age. At just 15 years old, she appeared on the cover of Elle magazine. She soon landed very small roles in a few small films, including the 1953 film Act of Love, which starred Hollywood legend Kirk Douglas. By age 16, Brigitte's natural beauty caught the eye of a director's assistant, Roger Vadim. He wanted her to audition for an upcoming film. However, she did not land the part. Instead, she landed a steamy love affair. Brigitte was just 16 and Vadim was 22, but he drove her mad with passion. She described him as a wild wolf. He looked at me, scared me, attracted me. I didn't know where I was anymore. As for Vadim, he got exactly what he wanted, which, in his own words, was a woman with spirit, a woman with a sense of adventure and sexual curiosity. But Brigitte wasn't yet a woman, she was just a girl. Of course, they kept the romance a secret, but when Brigitte's parents eventually found out, they were furious, even threatening to send Brigitte away to England, as far away as possible from her suitor. They put an immediate stop to the relationship, which in turn triggered Brigitte's first attempt to take her own life. Distraught that her parents demanded her to stop seeing her lover, she put her head in the oven and turned it on. Thankfully, her parents found her just in time. Realizing that there was no way for them to win, they allowed the relationship to continue on one strict condition. Brigitte and Vadim were only allowed to marry once Brigitte turned 18, and that was exactly what they did. In 1952, the pair got married just a few months after her 18th birthday. Vadim used his connections and influence to get Brigitte's photos into fashion magazines and newspapers and helped her further make a name for herself. She appeared in a few films in which she oozed sex appeal on screen. While not highly erotic, some of her scenes were quite risky for the time, and that sex appeal came naturally to her. As she once said, "I am not an actress. I can only play me on and off the screen." But after a few years of marriage, it seems the lust and passion must have worn off for Brigitte in her personal life, because scandal was soon to follow. By 1956, Vadim had established himself as a director and had cast Brigitte in his first film, And God Created Woman. The film broke all boundaries. Hollywood had never seen anything so daring and so provocative. The film was even banned in some states as it was too sexual, too sensual, and too erotic for the times. After that, Brigitte's films became more and more sexual and erotic. However, while filming And God Created Woman, she fell in love with one of her co-stars, an actor named Jean-Louis Trintignant. Even on set, they would keep kissing long after her husband yelled for them to cut. Just like herself, Trintignant was also married, but that did not stop the two co-stars from hitting up a fiery love affair. The scandal ended in divorce for both parties, but Vadim was not surprised that Brigitte cheated on him. In fact, he later admitted, "I knew what was happening and rather expected it. I would always prefer to have that kind of wife, knowing she is unfaithful to me, rather than possess a woman who just loved me and no one else." Brigitte and Trintignant remained in a relationship for 2 more years, but eventually one can only assume that the lust and passion once again dried up for her. So, she found a new lover. This time, it was the French singer and actor Gilbert Bécaud. A series of wild affairs followed as she jumped from one fling to the next. Lovers fought over her, and she had potential partners lined up to sleep with her. "I like one to be in sight before the other goes," she told a friend. "Nobody has any security in loving me." Decades later, she herself confessed that throughout her life's sexual adventures, she bedded over 100 men and women. At the age of 24, she appeared on the 1958 cover of Playboy magazine. She would again grace the magazine with her naked beauty in 1962. But by 1959, she was married to actor Jacques Charrier. As with her first marriage, the second one would also end in tears and disaster. Brigitte was 25, an international sex symbol, and a Hollywood superstar. She had the world at her feet, but soon after tying the knot, she fell pregnant, and it nearly destroyed her. Unashamed, she confessed to the devastating effect the pregnancy had on her. "I looked at my flat, slender belly in the mirror like a dear friend upon whom I was about to close a coffin lid." Brigitte never wanted the child and was willing to try anything to abort the baby. "I'm not made to be a mother. I'm not adult enough. I know it's horrible to have to admit that, but I'm not adult enough to take care of a child," she revealed. In 1960, she gave birth to her only child, Nicolas Jacques. Just after giving birth and on her 26th birthday, she once again tried to take her own life. Just as she struggled to come to terms with being pregnant, she struggled equally to be a loving mother to her baby. After just 3 years of marriage, Brigitte and Charrier divorced, and he took full custody of the child. The mother and son had a very difficult and strained relationship, and she was not even invited to attend his wedding. Decades later, when he was already in his 30s, Brigitte would recall her pregnancy in her memoir, referring to her then unborn baby as a cancerous tumor, writing that she would rather have preferred to give birth to a little dog. As a result of this harrowing public revelation, Nicolas sued his mother for emotional damages. She was ordered to pay both her son and ex-husband a combined total of £36,000. After her disastrous marriage to Charrier and countless more sexual adventures, she set her eyes on someone new. As we've now seen, Brigitte Bardot didn't just fall for any man. Her long-term lovers all had something in common. They were rich and famous and successful. That was no different with millionaire Gunter Sachs, whom she met in 1966. For instance, one of the first things she noticed about him was that he drove the same Rolls-Royce as her. "I thought he was magnificent," Brigitte wrote in her memoir. "I was hypnotized." Their whirlwind love affair kicked off with a thunderous bang. The very next day, after meeting her, Sachs had a helicopter fly over her home, dropping 1,000 roses from the sky. And what's a crazy love story without a Las Vegas wedding, right? Just 2 months after meeting, they got married in Neon City. But nothing about their marriage was to be bright and beautiful. Within days of returning home from their wedding, Brigitte was up to her old tricks again. She entangled herself in another steamy and scandalous affair, this time with British actor and singer Mike Sarn. Once again, he was a co-star in one of her films. Next in her sights was singer Serge Gainsbourg. He even wrote 2 songs for her, and while recording the song with Brigitte, the two apparently got very hands-on and intimate in the sound booth. Some of those sounds actually made it onto the recording, but Brigitte apparently insisted that they mustn't use it. Later, Gainsbourg re-recorded the song again with his then-girlfriend Jane Birkin. The song, called Moi Non Plus, made it to #1 on the UK charts. During her 3-year marriage to Sachs, Brigitte would cheat on him numerous times. Even after their divorce in 1969, they remained friends, with Sachs later saying, "A year with Bardot was worth 10 with anyone else." Given the raunchy sex kitten reputation that she had built for herself in her very adventurous life, one can't blame Sachs for his statement. Sadly, Sachs would take his own life in 2011. After more affairs and more attempts of her own to take her own life, Brigitte turned away from the spotlight and from acting, but not before appearing naked once again in a 1974 issue of Playboy. Instead of flaunting her sex appeal, she now used her celebrity status and put it to good use. In 1986, she founded the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, a welfare organization focused on protecting wild and domestic animals. "I gave my youth and my beauty to men," she said. "I am now giving my wisdom and my experience, the best of myself, to animals." In 1992, she married Bernard Dormal, a wealthy businessman and politician. Given Brigitte's unlucky track record in love, we already know that she dove headfirst into relationships. But this one took the cake. The two got married in a quiet ceremony just 1 month after meeting. Given her history, it is easy to think that this marriage was to be the most disastrous one yet, but on the contrary, it turned out that Brigitte and Bernard are soulmates. It also seems that he helped her to pull her life together and to repair her relationship with her estranged son. Brigitte has since all but vanished from the spotlight and is now living a quiet life in Saint-Tropez, France. From once being the hottest and wildest sex symbol in Hollywood to now living life as a recluse, what do you think of Brigitte Bardot's crazy sex life? If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.